I believe our guest might be coming up the. There you go.
Yeah.
I could hear footsteps.
You could hear footsteps.
That's right.
This guy could run.
Hey.
A dog tried to bite me.
That's okay. That's all right. Hey,
You can outrun the dog, no problem.
Sit, Fido.
That's it. That's it.
How
are you guys?
Please have a seat. None other than Ricky Waters,
Ricky Waters.
former NFL running back.
Oh, Running Waters.
Yeah, Running Waters. You got the nickname on the chalkboard. Everything
Thank you,
good
Chris
to go.
Berman. Appreciate you.
That's right. Chris Berman was the one that came up with that. You're in town because you're going to serve as a broadcaster, along with Russ Francis, by the way, a couple of the color commentators for this AFL All-Star game at the Blaisdell. Before we get into you and where you're at in your career and talk about some of your memories, let's talk about this event because we've mentioned things that are unprecedented. This is unprecedented for an AFL All-Star event to be played here in Hawaii, and then it's in combination with an introduction to the AFL in the Far East. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, and we're very excited about it. Obviously, it's a great opportunity for us. I love football. I think everyone understands that, knows that I love football. So to be able to introduce it to a country like China, and for them, I think they're really excited about it. And I think that the game of the AFL game, I think best suits them, and I think it would be a very good and a popular situation when we go there because it's up and down. It's fast moving. They love basketball, and it's kind of a football / basketball when you talk about arena football. And I've kind of like taken arena football as one of my cool things now, you know, because after going to a few games, and actually I've been to a few games in the past, but lately I've gone to the Philly Soul games because of Philly and everything, and very exciting games, very fast moving. I had a chance to go to the Arena Bowl, the championship game. It was in Orlando, where I live now. So got to see that game, went down to the last seconds. I took some of the kids that I mentor with me, and you know, they're harsh on everything. So if it's not cool, they're going to let you know. And they had a great time. They loved it. It's very fan-friendly, family-oriented. I like that they're always shooting something into the stands. There are a lot of interaction between the fans and the players.
I have in my hand a ticket, so to speak, okay? And I'm going to go to this event.
Yes.
What will I see?
Well, first of all, if you get there early enough at 10 o'clock, is when well, it's on ESPN and everything, so it's going to be really good and really top notch, obviously. But the early part of it, there is going to be concerts. You're going to see some great performers there. You're going to see a lot of fun, and it's all about Hawaii. You know, it's all about bringing the AFL to the prominence that I believe that it deserves, that it really does. And 4 o'clock is when the game starts at 4 o'clock, but I say come out there early because it's going to be a lot of fun. Niner Empire, please stand up, come see your boy. Me and Russ, we're going to be there having a great time, obviously, and I would love to see a big contingent of 49er fans.
Yeah, this is this weekend, November 2nd. From a business standpoint, it makes so much sense, obviously, to try to expand to that Asian market. And I think there's been kind of a race among all these professional leagues to try to be the first to do it. And there have been certain inroads made. But, I mean, this is off the charts as far as a business-savvy move from the Arena Football League standpoint, right?
Yes, and Marty Judge is the one who's spearheading all this thing, and he does not take no for an answer. So he is, and I think that it's just a great thing. Like I said, it's a great opportunity. We're talking about a place, like you said, it's untapped as far as football is concerned. And my wife is Chinese. We've been to China, love the people there, awesome. Obviously love the people here in Hawaii. This is like my second home. I felt like, 5 Pro Bowls in a row.
Yeah, you were out here enough. Yeah.
That's it.
And it's always been like super as far as how the fans treat me, how they've received us and everything. It's just been super. So I'm very happy. Once they said, well, we're thinking about going to Hawaii, I'm like, count me in. Yeah. And they're like, well, and we also are thinking about, obviously China, because that, is what we're trying to do as far as China's concerned, is to get football over there. And I think it's going to take off like wildfire because it is a great game. first of all. And like I said, I just think that the AFL is a good way of going in there and for them to see it, to be hands-on more. They feel like, the fans feel like, and like I said, the young people that I took there who are very critical said that they like the fact that they feel like they're on the field. They're really close to the players. The players understand that the interaction with the fans is what it's all about. So it's a very fun situation. My family loved it. I have a 13-year-old, I have a 6-year-old, and they loved it as well.
When you look at the Blaisdell Arena, though, you are looking at an arena that is not really AFL dimensional. The indoor football that has been played here has been played on a field that has been sculpted to the size of that arena. So this All-Star game that's on Saturday will be, because it has to be, sculpted to that arena. But in the games that I have seen played there, holy mackerel, it is fast, and it is, talk about being right there for the action. Can't get any closer
Would
than
you
the
have liked to
Blaisdell.
have played that style of football? I mean, just to taste it for a little bit?
Definitely. I think I would have tore it up. But, you know, that's just me being confident the way I am and everything, and my belief in my talents. But I think because it's so fast and it's so quick, and you know, one quick move, I feel like, and the fact that you can, as a wide receiver, you can move before the snap and get you kind of a good running start at the defensive backs. I don't think they would be able to check me.
Well, let's speaking of you, let's get a little bit further into you and what Ricky Watters is doing these days. What has life post your NFL career been like? What are you involved with?
Well, it's been a lot of fun, first of all. I do a lot of mentoring. I have a foundation, the Ricky Watters Family Foundation. We work with children who are in foster care, at risk. I actually worked with Jim Brown, the great Jim Brown. I like to call him the great Jim Brown because that's one of my mentors, and went out there with him, and we worked with gangs and gang violence and rehabilitating gang members and stuff like that. Taught me a lot of how to deal with, you know, youngsters that are dealing with these problems that they are and the situations that they are. So I've kind of taken that as one of the fights for me. You know, I like to see those things happen, that it just gets better, and that people realize that these young people, they've had a bad rap. Sure. Because they've gone through bad things, they've had bad situations in their life, but they change. They can change, and I've seen the change, and I've seen young people who have, you know, thought, when I walk in the room, I see them looking at me like, what are you going to tell me, and why should I listen to you and all that? But then when I'm leaving, they're hugging me, and they're just saying, man, can I really do that? You think I can really be somebody who's successful in society and positive and all the things that I believe they can be? And it's just a great feeling to be able to do that and to be able to touch people in that way. So that's one of the things I do. Football camps is another thing, because I love football. And so being able to reach out to people and teach football, and to teach them how to play the game, but play the game the right way. And to, you know, injuries are part of the game, but there are ways to kind of get that a little lower and bring that down a little bit. And there's ways to block, there's ways to tackle, there's a way to play the game and try to be as healthy as possible. But obviously you got to go all out and you have to play hard. So
now, you won a national championship when you were at Notre Dame under Lou Holtz, 1988. Yes. That made this guy very happy, by the way.
You and me both, Pop.
Your NFL career was stellar, obviously. The Super Bowl with the Niners. You're one of, I think, just 2 running backs in NFL history to rush for over 1,000 yards with 3 different teams, Willis McGahee being the other. Yeah. And you've been mentioned by various publications as one of those players, top players yet to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you should be in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, I definitely do. When I look back at my career, it was a great career. I wouldn't trade it for anyone's.
Would you like us to be your agent?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Good call there.
Yeah. I know Pops will definitely take care of me.
That's right. And, you know, you've never made a mistake in agents and things like that. Have you? Things have gone well?
Yeah, it's going very well.
We'll be right there. We'll be right there.
But that is, you know, that's something that I'm sure, you know, every year that goes by, it's on some players' minds. And looking at the numbers, 3 touchdowns in that Super Bowl game, there are very few players that can claim the things that you can claim.
Yes, and I obviously I'm proud of that. And when you talk about the fans and and the people that I really care about and what they think and stuff like that, they believe I'm already in there. You know, they know they believe I should be in there. Sure. So that makes me feel good. Also, wherever I go, they treat me like I'm already in there. So it's not like they go, oh, not that guy. When you come back and talk to us when you're in the Hall of Fame, because we don't have time for this right now. You know, nobody got time for that, like my son would always say. But really, I think that when I look at it, everybody who has gone in, they deserve to go in there. There's not one person I could look at and say, can't believe that guy went in and I'm not in. You know, so I feel like it's just a matter of time, and I think that I've put myself in a position to be there. I've done the right things, but I've also have to look at it as I've had some great coaches. I've had some great players that have played with me, and they're not in. You know, so it's just one of those things that I think it takes time.
What about the status of the National Football League now? With the new rules about tackling and things like that, with the settlement with veteran players, and then you still have the Thursday game. I mean, you play on Sunday, then you have to go play on Thursday. So, the National Football League presents a good game of taking care of the players, but they really don't, in my humble opinion. How do you look at the National Football League now?
Well, when I look at it, I say I really wish they would take better care of the retired players, and that they would look at the situation and realize that it's not a situation where when you finish playing football, that now you can just go out and just get another job or do certain things when you are beat up the way we are. Even myself, people go, man, you look like you could still play. Yeah. Except for when I wake up in the morning and I feel like you don't know what, and I have to go through rehabilitating myself and my body, and I go to the doctors and they look at me and they're just like, hope you know what you're going to be like, as these years go on for me. I have a lot of broken bones and different. I got 5 screws in my ankle. I have a metal plate wrapped around my leg down there. I have 3 pins put in my hand and various places that have been broken, and and ligaments and things like that. So it's just like you can't even look at us and say, well, this guy looks fine or he's fine. No, we're beat up, and we're really hurting, and it's tough to get up, let alone to go and find a job and work and keep going. So I just wish that they would take a little bit better care of us. I like the things that they're doing to try to clean the game up some. I know that when I talk to the players, a lot of them don't like it because they're just like, it's very confusing. And I definitely, as a defensive player, would not want to play now because where do you hit somebody then? Yeah. I mean, the way some of the times when I look at this and I say, and I see they go, throw a flag, and I'm like, that is the way you teach them to tackle. Yeah. Every coach teaches them to run through a guy, to nose him up, and to boom and get that thud. And that's what you want. And a lot of times it's the shoulder, but it looks like the helmet. Yeah. And sometimes you catch a little helmet or something, but I know I've caught a lot of helmets in my career. And so it would be very tough as a defensive player. As an offensive player, I would love to play right now because I don't think you could tackle me. If you got to think about how to tackle me, by the time you figure that out, I'm gone. See ya.
Yeah, another thing that happened this past weekend, a lot of talk about Des Bryant, standout receiver for the Cowboys, and his rant on the sideline, which, as it turned out, at least in one stretch, according to NFL Films, it was kind of a positive rant. He was saying positive things to his teammates, but just in a very emotional, kind of passionate way. Throughout your career, you had been tagged as a guy who maybe had sort of that bad attitude, and in a lot of ways, I think you were claiming that you were misunderstood because it was an emotional, kind of passionate thing for you. Why is it that some players have that sort of label follow them around, whereas you have a guy like Tom Brady, who obviously has had his moments and episodes of ranting at some of his teammates on the sideline, but that's kind of, hung on the hook of, well, he's being a leader. Why is it different for some players compared to others?
Yeah, I wish it wasn't that way because I know with myself, and I can only speak for myself, it's coming from the heart. It's because I love the game. I wanted to win every game that we were in, and I always wanted us to play well and do well. It was never a situation where I was coming at somebody, you're not a good player, or you suck, or whatever, I don't want you on, or why are you there, or you can't block, or anything like that. It was always to get guys up and get guys fired up. I've always had coaches that are like that. that'll get in your face and get you going and all that and light a fire under you, I think that that's a good thing. I want a guy on my team, if I'm coaching, I want a guy who wants the ball. I want a guy who really cares about it, who is taking it hard if he loses, and who is like emotional about it. Of course, you have to be careful. You can't let it go bubble over too much. You can't, do something that is detrimental to your team. But I don't feel like I have ever been in a game detrimental to my team. I think that they understood where I was coming from. But if you're just looking at it from the camera or you're looking at it from your seat in your house, I can understand how you might not understand or see that, properly or think, God, what is he saying? Because you don't know the words that are coming out of the mouth. You don't know what I'm saying. All you see is the body language. And it's just because I cared.
Well, you definitely cared, and you definitely played that way, and you definitely had a Hall of Fame-worthy career, and we appreciate you coming by.
What a legacy.
That's
what
right.
a legacy. Notre Dame, 49ers, you're my man.
Until Russ Francis, we
This
said
is
that.
a smart guy right here. I tell you what.
Ricky Waters, everybody. We'll see you next time on Leahey Leahey.